Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We will be continuing our buyer's guide for these old two-stroke skis today. In the previous video we discovered different hull styles for different types of riding. Your personal skis for your one person that rides like a dirt bike, or versus your larger three-person ski for your family cruising, or your two-person mid-range ski. In this video we're going to discuss engine options for those different hulls. Now I like to stay away from the older ones, basically anything older than 94. Those had the 657 and 587 engines in them. They're generally good, reliable engines, but they're kind of underpowered in some of these hulls. We're going to stick with the 717, also known as the 720 engine, which is super reliable, very popular, and then the 787 engine, known as the 800 engine, which is pretty much the medium engine. Very great engine. A lot of racers love that engine. If you're into tuning and aftermarket parts, that's the engine to have. Very popular, tons of them around. Then the larger engine, which is the 947cc, also known as the 951 engine, which is a super powerhouse engine. Very, very powerful, a lot of HP. It spits out 135 horses. Can also be modified some, but also known for water ingestion because of the location of the intake and the exhaust and the carbs and all that stuff. It's very pain to work on. So the 800 engine is generally the best engine you want to get with. Otherwise, the 720 engine, super reliable, great family engine. So I will show you some examples of these engines. Now all mine, I prefer to stick with carbs. I do have a few DI engines, and for this video I would like to tell people to try to stay away from the DI engines. The direct injection engines have those fuel injectors, fuel pumps, and lots of electronics that can go wrong, and they're very troublesome. So I personally like to stick with the carb engines. I do have a DI ski that I love, but if it ever gives me issues, I'm going to stick a carb engine into it instead. So let's get over and do a review on these engines. First, we're going to start with this 1996 GTI. It has the 717 engine in it, also the 720 engine. It's hard to see inside this engine, but these engines stick straight up and down. There is no counterbalance shaft, and there are no Rave Valves. If you're not sure what a Rave Valve is, I will show you that in the next engine. But these engines are a rotary valve engine with no Rave Valves. They're pretty simple, straightforward. They sit straight up and down, as I said, and they're easy to work on, and they're easy to rebuild. Of course, the 657 and 587 engines also sit straight up and down. So you want to check your tag, and you'll see 717 there. Now, of course, some of them say 718.2 or whatever, but they're generally like this one says 7.182, whatever. But generally, it's a 720 engine. That is what it's called. These are very reliable engines. They are putting out about 85 horses. So that's that'll get this ski here, this three-person ski, up to about 45 miles an hour, give or take. So this is a good, reliable family engine or a single-person engine. Also available in the single-person skis and the double-person skis. When you get up into the bigger skis, if you go bigger into this style hull, that 717 is kind of gutless. In this hull, it's perfectly fine, but you go into a bigger, newer hull, it's kind of gutless. Now we would come over here to a 96 XP with the 787. Take off the seat. I will remove the air vent. Now this engine, as you can see, it sits at an angle. The pistons are at an angle. It has a counterbalance shaft, and this has the Rave Valves. You can notice the Rave Valves because there's two of them on top, and they got black caps. Now these have blades that go in and block the exhaust ports, and they come up and down, and you can adjust the power, the pressure. There's a spring underneath these red caps so you can adjust them. They're called power Rave Valves. They're very similar to what they have on the snowmobile engines. So, but of course, with the Raves, you have more maintenance. You have to take apart these every now and then and clean and rebuild them. So that's more maintenance, more work. But this is you can see here, it's got type 787, also known as the 800 engine. And this engine is a very good engine. A lot of aftermarket performance parts for this engine. They have the Rave valves can be leak. As you can see, this one's been leaking before. I had to rebuild them. They got fresh gaskets. But these are great engines, and they're not too difficult to work on. You got your carbs underneath your air box here that you can get to pretty easily, just like on the 717s. They're not too bad to get to. But these do require a full synthetic oil to help keep the Raves clean. As versus the 717, which can use the cheaper mineral oil. So these are pretty good engines. They're very popular, and if maintained, they can last a long time. And this is spitting out 110 horses versus the 717, which is 85 horses. So you're getting a little more horsepower. Now this engine is a 951 engine that I put in this hull. Like the 787 engine, the 951 is a Rave Valve engine. We got the Rave Valve caps here. The pain on this one is you got carbs underneath the muffler, underneath the exhaust pipe. So your carbs and then the starter. So this is a pain to work on. Now these engines are also susceptible to water ingestion. You can get water going up into the intake, into these tubes here, and sucking up water and blow your engine. So they're very prone to that. But again, this is a 947 or 951, and this puts out 135 horses, and that's stock. So very, very powerful engine, but very much a pain to work on. Now this is an 04 DI. This also has the 951 engine in it, except this is a DI version. So it's got, instead of carbs, it's got fuel injectors. And Stormy got blue caps instead of red. But again, this one sits up front, very prone to getting water splashed over and sucking in water and blowing your engine. But these engines, again, are great engines. I just don't like the DI myself. I prefer carbs. So those are your three types of engines. You need to choose which one you want, the 717, 787, or 951. Now, of course, not all these engines were available in all hull styles, so you have to research. And like this hull never came with an 800 engine or a 951 engine. For that one, you need to get that hull style. That hull style was available in 717, 787, and 951. So very, very popular hull style with that one as well. But it's kind of gutless with the 717. Now here are three 717 engines that need work. This one runs, as far as I know. The other two need full rebuilds. But these are rotary valve engines, which basically means you have this rotary blade here, which goes on here and spins and opens up your ports. But there are no raves on these, no rave valves for the exhaust. But these rotary valves are known to strip and go bad, and you have to replace them, and they're known to get worn. And you can get replacement covers. This here's the cover. Now, as you can see here, they are available in a dual carb and a single carb. The 800s and 951s are only available in a dual carb. So an advantage of the 717 is you can go with a single carb and have less to rebuild. That was available in many different newer model years as well. So check those out and do some research on those. This was an SBT. I recommend staying away from SBT. They rebuild engines and they're not very good. And this on here, I don't know what happened to it. I bought it from a junk ski and it's seized up. So probably lack of oil, lack of maintenance. But generally the 717 is a good, reliable engine if properly maintained like anything else. Hope you guys have enjoyed this quick review of the engines, the 3 popular engines. The 717 engine with 85 horses, the 787 known as the 800 engine with 110 horses, and the 951 engine with 135 horses. I will throw up some pictures, some nice pictures of these engines. Just stay away from the DIs generally and the RFIs. The Rotax fuel injection, the RFIs and the DIs with their fuel injectors are problematic. I prefer the carbs, as I said earlier. So you can't go wrong with a 717 in a smaller hull or a 3-seater like the 96 GTI. But you get any bigger than that, you want the 800. The 800 is probably my favorite. As many people know, it's a great engine. The 951 is a powerhouse, but it's very problematic and known for water ingestion and blowing up. So you can't go wrong with the 800 for plenty of power. And if you want reliability to have a good solid ski for your son, your kids, just to ride, make sure with less maintenance, get the 717, the 720 engine. It's pretty solid. It's one of the engines that I like to sell. It's easy to rebuild. I sell a lot of skis with 717 just because they're just simple. And they have plenty of power overall for 1 or 2 people on a ski. So again, hope this helps you decide which ski and which engine you want and which is best for you. In the next video, we will discuss what to look for when you're buying an old 90s ski and what to stay away from. So stay tuned for that video. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.